Terry McNulty, men's lacrosse player, class of 1987. Terry was a defender for the Mount St. Mary's men's lacrosse team and a leader both on and off the field. He helped guide the Mount to a 35-9 record during his career, which marks the best winning percentage in a 4-year stretch in school history, and set the stage for the Mount's transition to Division I. In his senior season, he began the year being named a captain and concluded it by being named team MVP. That same year, he was also nominated by his head coach, Randy Kilgore, to be a preseason All-American. He played in an era where stats weren't kept, and particularly those for defensemen aren't kept, but in talking with some of his peers, he was known as a player who loved the game and was just as likely to jump into the goal to stop a shot with his body as he was to scoop up a ground ball and start a transition break leading to a goal. In recognition of his outstanding career in lacrosse at Mount St. Mary's, the National Alumni Association is proud to induct Terry McNulty into the Athletic Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much. Steve, great speech, but I'm going to be much shorter. In November, I received a call from Ella Callahan, president of the National Alumni Association, informing me of my selection into the induction into the Mount Athletic Hall of Fame. Her call came as a complete surprise to me, and as soon as I got off the phone, I contacted my father, Jack McNulty, to give him the great news. My dad was extremely proud, as well as the rest of my family and friends. A few days later, I received the official letter from the Mount. Once again, I called my dad first. I said, "Dad, I've got some good news, I've got some bad news. The good news is I got the letter from the Mount, it's official, I'm being inducted to the Mount Hall of Fame. The bad news is the letter says it's for soccer." The next day, I got the corrected version of the letter. I started playing lacrosse at the Mount in the fall of 1983 under the guidance of Coach Randy Kilgore and Pat Healy. Every player had a great deal of respect for Coach Kilgore and his ability to get the most out of the players and his knowledge of the game. Coach Kilgore, who started the Mount Lacrosse program, was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1994. Pat Healy was primarily a defense and goalie coach. Pat had his own style of coaching and a simple and a unique ability to motivate his players. Whether it was running sideways on hills to strengthen our ankles or conducting 3 daily practices during our spring break, he always made practices interesting. I had many great experiences while playing at the Mount, but my best memories had to be my senior year. I was captain of the team, but more importantly, my twin brothers were freshmen at the Mount. Pat played goalie, and Mike was attack, and both were highly recruited in high school by Duke, Army, Loyola, and Brown. But after spending a couple weekends with me their senior year in high school, they decided the Mount was the place they wanted to play. Not sure if that was the greatest decision or not. I don't think there are too many college teams that can boast having 3 brothers on the team at the same time. This definitely made it easier for my parents, who rarely missed our games. My older brother Sean and my 2 sisters, Kathleen and Margaret, also attended many of our games. Even though we were brothers, we had some real battles during practice. Being the oldest and a defender, I would always lay the wood to Mike, who would always fight back during the practice. Pat was also very aggressive and impressive in their goal. Our intense play during practices seemed to translate well to good play on the field. Mike was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2010, and he used to give me grief about being a member, and I wasn't. I would often remind him, defensemen don't get recognized on the field unless they're committing penalties. Unfortunately, that was not a stat they recorded during my time at the Mount. I'm now only the 2nd defenseman to get into the Hall of Fame for lacrosse. I can remember my wife Eileen, who's from New Jersey, had never seen a lacrosse game before college, asking me why I was always kneeling by the scorer's table. I told her sometimes I needed a break during the game. In one game, all 3 McNulty brothers were in the penalty box at the same time. Not our proudest moment. I was fortunate to be associated with a lot of great teammates over my years at the Mount, and also lucky to play with a lot of exceptional players like Greg Robertson, DJ Stevenson, Paul Detter, Dean Miller, and my fellow Mount St. Joe High School alums, Joe O'Farrell, Greg Tolker, and Matt Mundorf. In closing, I'd like to thank the National Alumni Association, my fellow inductees, families, and friends. This truly is a great honor. And as my dad says, 2 McNultys in, 1 to go. Go Met.